Welcome to Forensic Friday.
Where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Well, hello, friend.
Hi.
We have been mega busy
I know, it's been nuts.
getting ready for CrimeCon, you getting in your manager position. We've been busy.
It's a lot. We did all these transitions. I'm adding Sandy to my calendar so I don't book it.
Yep,
Um,
we're going to be shooting the shit with Sandy on Thursday, y'all.
I know it'll be so fun. Well, you should tell them who Sandy is.
Sandy Campanelli. I'm not going to tell you much about her because
Well,
she's going to introduce
this
herself Thursday.
this will probably come out the day after this will come out next Friday.
Yes.
We'll record with her the day before this episode comes out, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So get ready. You will have what?
Continuity problems. Sandy Campanelli is going to be on the pod with us in the next couple of
Yes.
weeks, and
There
she
we
is
go.
an absolute hoot. We're calling it shooting the shit with Sandy
Love it.
because I mean she's just priceless. She is her own person.
She is priceless.
That will be a profanity laden episode. Fair, you've been warned. You've just been
Yes.
warned.
Sorry.
Also,
Not sorry.
totally worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it. Here is what we're going to be talking about today, Nat. I don't think you've heard about this. I don't know if this made its way to your side of the TikTok algorithms,
Okay.
but we're calling this one When Kendra Met Henry.
Okay.
Sorry, back up. Instead of When Harry Met Sally, it's When Kendra Met Henry.
Okay.
Yes, very tricky.
Got
Okay.
it.
So some of y'all already know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to catch Nat up. So a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, this girl, Kendra Hilty, who is a 36-year-old ADHD coach from Arizona,
Okay.
shared more than 25 TikTok, I don't know what you call them, episodes, videos, recounting how she fell madly in love with her psychiatrist
Oh, I did hear about this. I don't know the case though.
and believed he was manufacturing everything so that she would fall in love with him.
What?
She thinks he was unethical because he didn't end treatment with her when she confessed her feelings. Now, it's important to note that psychiatrists and therapists don't do the same thing. They just don't. She
Right.
was meeting with this person monthly for 30 minutes via Zoom
Oh gosh.
for like 4 years. So he was prescribing her ADHD meds.
Okay.
Okay. So that's Kendra Hilty. So while she was in therapy, and I'm putting therapy in air quotes that you can't see, because technically psychiatrist, a 30-minute appointment once a month isn't really therapy as much as it is
Maintenance.
medication management,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's not therapy.
Right.
And what she started doing when she got into these sessions with her psychiatrist is she started confiding in her AI chat box named Henry. Henry, the AI chat box, starts teaching her about transference,
Oh no.
especially erotic transference.
Oh no.
Uh-huh. And for the listeners, erotic transference is a therapeutic bond perceived as romantic when it actually stems from deeper unmet needs or past relationships, right? So she goes live, and when I tell you, like, she's a lot. She's a whole vibe. She's worth watching. I watched about half of her videos and then I was like, I can't take her anymore. But there's quite a few and they just go and go and go.
Are you talking about like videos she made on TikTok or something? Okay. You should
Yep.
send one.
Oh, I will. So the public goes nuts over this. That's how it made its way to me is I was seeing a client that I have been seeing since she was about 12. Hey girl, I told her we're gonna
Hey
cover it.
girl.
Hey girl.
Do
Started
I
seeing
know this one?
12 and I don't think so. Now she's 17 and amazing. And I barely see her anymore because she's just like killing it. Amazing.
Best.
But she told me, she goes, oh my God, Janine, like minute she sat down, there's an episode you have to do on the pod. And I was like, what? And she told me this whole, she goes, there's this woman who's crashing out about her psychiatrist and you have to check it out. She goes, I'll send it to you. And so she told me about this and I said, okay, let's talk about you, but I'll look this up later. Right.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Public goes nuts with it. Her TikTok grew from 100,000 followers and she was able to monetize via TikTok's creator fund, which I guess is like $2.99 a month for people to subscribe.
Okay.
So she turned this into money, good for her. But
Mm-hmm.
then she starts getting a lot of harassment, doxing, threats, cruel comments, all that kind of stuff. So she eventually turned her comments off on TikTok and made her Instagram private.
Okay.
So here's my question, Nat, for you before I get into some more of this case, because there's more to it. Okay. First of all, it is always possible, and we should always listen to people when they feel like they're having an inappropriate interaction with their therapist,
Absolutely.
or when they're starting to have feelings that are kind of getting beyond a normal therapeutic relationship.
Yes.
So here's my question for you, Nat. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever had a client fall in love with you or start to feel a little bit over friendly? And you don't have to give details because we're not trying to out anybody's stuff.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. Like, I'm actually being honest. But I mean, I've had
Would you say
inappropriate,
probably yes? I mean, that's the truth.
prob probably yes. I mean, I had that one situation that I'm not going to say specifically what happened
Mhm.
when I got a certain email
Yes.
that was off-putting.
That was really off-putting. I don't know that I've ever had a client come out and say they're in love with me. I think our clients get, particularly when we work with men, we work with a lot of men who've been in really tough relationships and they have trauma. I have been proposed to. I did get proposed to one
That
time.
is true. And you've been named many times of like saving someone basically.
Oh, that's true. I've had some of that, a little bit of that. But I've never had to terminate a client over, well, that's not true. Okay, the proposal one, it was the last session. And so
So
it
you're like, this is a good time to part ways.
it was some kind of weird Hail Mary. I still don't totally understand it. We discussed, I was like, I don't know where you got this idea, sir, but your girl's been happily married for a really long time. Never would I ever. Yeah, keep it moving, essentially.
Keep it
Keep
keep
it
it
moving.
moving.
But I would say when this happens, what are we supposed to do?
Talk through it. Talk about also the therapeutic relationship and what that looks like, and talk about how normal transference can be.
Yeah, transference is literally a part of therapy. Transference
Yes.
is when these feelings kind of get projected onto the therapist. So it's
Yes.
actually very normal.
Yes.
We're one of the,
Therapist is listening to you in ways that a lot of people in your life you feel like aren't.
well, yeah, and if we are the steady person in your life and we listen when you talk and we're a little bit validating, sure, you're going to develop some kind of connection. And actually, it's the therapist's job to model appropriate communication, healthy boundaries, all of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Now, have I known of clients who sleep with their therapist? Absolutely. Has that therapist always been a male? Yes. In all of the cases I know of, it's been a man.
Hmm.
I didn't run into this for years.
Same.
They just grill us in grad school about this. And I was like, my God, yes, I will never sleep with a client. But then I wasn't out of school that long before I started hearing like rumblings about different people. And then a few years later, I had my first experience where I found out that somebody that I knew had slept with a client, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Same. And they went to school with us. Or not with us, but at the same school. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah, it's like you took the
they
same
like
class I did.
pounded it in our heads to
Yeah.
not do that.
So we are supposed to be able to have that conversation. We don't just like discharge people for having a feeling.
Oh,
We have to be able to
right.
talk through it. Now, as a female clinician, we have had some men, particularly DV clients,
Hmm.
become a little aggressive with people on our team. Not, I don't mean aggressive, angry, although that's also happened, but I mean like aggressively romantic, like bringing flowers, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that gets
Then
a
we're
little
discharged.
weird.
Like
Yeah.
we're going to discharge when it gets past a
Well,
certain.
especially when we're talking about the population we work with
Yeah.
primarily, because it's not just like, hey, I brought you a flower because I'm thankful that you did this work with me. It's like I brought you a bouquet and I'm not nearly done with treatment and I literally just got told that I can't bring these.
Yes. It's just you have to set boundaries. They need to respect boundaries, and
Yep.
everybody needs to feel safe.
Yep.
That's the number one thing, right?
Yep.
When we refer, we really try to give reasonable referrals to people where they can go get their needs met in a healthy way, right?
Yes.
So the psychiatrist in this case has not been identified. Okay. But
Okay.
she went on to see a second therapist. The second therapist was a 75-year-old woman, female therapist, and Kendra alleges that they crossed a boundary because this therapist was texting her for advice on treating other clients and also made a comment that there might be quote unquote sexual tension if they met in person.
Wait, the therapist said that?
According to Kendra, who is not, in my estimation, a super reliable narrator. Just
Okay. And this is, you said, an older woman, the
older
therapist
woman,
is.
75-year-old woman.
Okay.
So then people are starting to think like, okay, lady, that's one, that's two. We got a man, now we got a 75-year-old woman. Everyone doesn't want to have sex with you. Now, might that 75-year-old woman have said something like, hey, I don't know that we should meet in person because of what happened with your other therapist. Or you might have some perceived sexual tension or something in there. That could happen.
That might make sense.
But do I think this 75-year-old woman wanted to sleep with this client? Probably not.
No.
But who knows? So when people started asking her, what happened, dude? Like what, where, whatever, she goes, I think we trauma bonded. I was like, what's the drama? Okay. She also said there were quote unquote blurred boundaries in which he allowed her to call him by his first name,
Okay.
which they met for 4 years online. Like we have Dr.
Duh.
Dana, the psychologist who we work with people. She wants people to call her Dana. That doesn't mean she doesn't have good boundaries,
Right.
right? I mean, it's just wild. And then he told her he liked her glasses one time.
Oh
Clearly, he was in love
no.
with her. I know the whole thing.
Oh no.
But her opinion, and I think some of this came from AI and some of this came from her, was that she thinks that he should have ended the relationship and ended treatment when she shared her feelings. And that's the one point that she made where I'm like, you know what? I do think if you have a vulnerable client and they share that they have feelings and they're not able, it's not part of their treatment plan, or you're their psychiatrist, not their therapist,
Right.
it might make sense to refer at that point. I don't think that would
Right.
be the end of the world to say, you know what? I want you to feel really comfortable. I'm afraid this might have an impact on our therapeutic relationship over time. I'm going to give you a referral, right? I think you could go that way, or you could try to work through it.
Right.
The guiding principle there being whatever's best for the client.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. We're all hearing it from like this one side. And he might have said, like, hey, I'm so sorry you feel that way. And he might have not felt the need to end the therapeutic alliance relationship because maybe of how she responded.
Yes. And also,
It doesn't sound super credible.
she's not a reliable narrator. There's no
No.
part, like she shares text messages and stuff, and it's like, girl, this is just a psychiatrist being a psychiatrist. Like, I didn't see anything, honestly, that was
Right.
out of line. Now, did I listen to all 25 and growing videos? No.
Hmm.
No, I did not. Is this a sad story for Kendra? Yes, I felt sad watching her because, yes, she's getting some fame and some clout, but she does seem like a vulnerable person to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems kind of vulnerable. Okay, second part of this that I want to really talk with you about is AI. So I'm going to teach you a little bit because I know you don't know a ton about this.
No,
I'm
but I love AI for the things that I know about.
I am only now showing Nat like the basics of AI, which is as much as I know.
Yeah.
And it's because our intern's been helping us get more efficient. And I'm here for efficiency because I do too many things. So with AI, so ChatGPT 5.0 just came out. Okay.
Okay.
So, I've been doing some writing projects. I've been using this a little bit more to help me with some case conceptualization. You don't put client data in there. You have to be really careful about that, but you can put some general ideas and get some good
Right.
language. So, I started it using ChatGPT 4.0. Okay. And it's so yummy to work with. Yummy is the only word I can think of. It's emotionally nuanced. It had really good wording, just cool. And so I would free write and write my stuff, and ChatGPT 4.0 would put together like outlines of things I was saying. Or if I'm working on a form, it's working side by side with me to create a form for the DV program or whatever. It just works with you like a little bestie. So can
Yeah.
I see why this woman got really connected to a chat bot? Yeah, particularly if it was talking to her about all of her psychological things. And
Right.
I've told you, people are increasingly using, and at the time, ChatGPT 4.0 or Gemini to workshop their text messages or to put in all their symptoms and try to figure out what diagnosis they have, all this kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And it's very kind. It'll be like, people with this diagnosis are this, and this positive trait, and they might struggle with this. And it's very kind. Like the language, the way it spoke was very kind. When ChatGPT 5.0 came out, I didn't even clock the change. I just keep working in the same website. I'm not paying attention. What are the numbers? Nobody knows, right?
Okay.
Okay. All of a sudden, I'm working with it one day. I'm like, this feels different. And I got so irritated with it that I switched over to Gemini because I use Gemini too. I switch over to Gemini and I'm just like, ugh, why is it so different? And I don't know anything. Then I'm laying in bed that night scrolling. You should not do that. It's not good sleep hygiene, but that's what I was doing. So I roll over in bed, scrolling on my phone, and I see a news article come up about how ChatGPT 5.0 came out and got rid of all of 4.0 and earlier versions. And they made it less, oh, Gare said the word, less glazy, less something. I forget what he said. There's a word, tech word. Anyway, people were pissed.
What does that mean though? Less glazy or
Less
whatever
like
it is.
warm, conversational, whatever, because tech people are irritated that it's so warm and conversational. They wanted it like straight up black and white, efficient. So ChatGPT 5.0 had some glitchy stuff too. So people are all up in arms. I was like, oh my gosh, Garrett, this is what happened to me. Like, I had this writing buddy, assistant helping me with forms, like making my life so much easier. And then it was gone and replaced by this totally different vibe.
Mhm.
And people are really struggling. Like, some people, I didn't understand this.
Interesting.
People had talked to ChatGPT 4.0 forever. And the earlier versions, I didn't know this was a thing. I really didn't. But if I'm a therapist and I noticed a difference in how I felt working between the two, if
Yeah.
you're an introverted person or someone with social anxiety who works from home, uses this thing every single day, talks to it about your ailments and your family issues and everything else, you like lost a friend overnight.
Mhm.
And I would never have believed that was possible until I experienced like one
Oh,
tiny bit of that.
okay, but I have a question.
Yes,
I love AI for the things that I use it for.
sure.
And I think like I low key like that they switched it to being less warm because I feel like it's unhealthy for individuals to make this their friend.
100%. Well, except that. Here's what I'll say. I love anything that is harm reduction to a point.
Yes.
Here's the issue with this, though. And when you think about how unaccessible therapy is from a cost perspective for some people,
Hmm.
I can understand using this as a stopgap. So some of my
Sure.
clients who I see are like, I need to send a message to my mother-in-law tomorrow, and I can't book a session. I'm just going to like workshop it on this thing. I'm with you though that it was a glimpse of the future. So it's just a good reminder to everyone that Chat, GPT, Gemini, these AI assistants are super helpful, but it is not a person. It is pretty amazing with diagnosis. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've had clients run their symptoms and it's pretty dead on, but it is not a person. And so when Henry was being really kind and affirming with Kendra, and then she's putting in more stuff that affirms what he's saying,
Yeah.
on and on and on we go. And you could really screw up somebody's thinking because one of the benefits of therapy is you have an educated, trained person who's going to look at you and say, "Hey, girl, I think your thinking's off a little bit here." Or, "How is this landing with your husband?" Or, "You seem different today. Is everything okay?" You have somebody who can actually interact with you in the moment, which you don't have with AI, right? So, Nat, do you think therapy is going to go the way of AI someday? Like, what do you actually think?
I hope not. But I do think it could. So I've had people tell me they're like, yeah, I just like put in the issues we're having and came up with like some pretty, interesting, not bad stuff. And I'm like, oh no. I think it could, but I don't think it'll ever be the same as talking to someone like a real human and having that real human interaction. I think if AI, and it will, unfortunately, but I think when AI starts to take over things like therapy or social work or any of the things that are like in the helping field, we're super screwed.
Well, yeah, and I think that I worry most about our entry level folks because I don't think we're going to see AI replace seasoned therapists quickly, if ever, because we're still going to need that touch,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But I do think intake workers, I think honestly, some levels of probation, like private probation, I
Oh
think
yeah.
that could turn into a thing where things change quite a bit. I think state level probation will always be a thing, but will it look a little different? Probably. You know, I also think that when people's jobs are affected by AI, I don't think they're going to want to have their therapy also be AI. Like, I think we're going to see a little bit of
Right.
a rebellion, probably. But for like Gray Baby, she may see a full pendulum shift and swing that by the time she's an adult, it may be fully integrated in their lives, like Jetson style.
Yeah.
So, one interesting thing that I wanted to tell you is Garrett actually helped me understand that data, you know, our data scientist producers, very helpful in this way. Data is so skewed because of systemic factors that, like, they tried building a model for parolees to see who should be released from parole or not. Well, because
Right.
certain people groups are overrepresented in prisons, it actually ended up being a risk factor. Like somebody being black was then a risk factor for recidivism, which is insane and not true. We
That's
just
nuts.
we just incarcerate black men at a much higher rate than other people. So the data right now is actually not very good for decision making like that. So I don't know if that will change in the future, but the ethics around AI are going to matter a lot. Because what happened if a chatbot, I was thinking about this Henry, right? What if this Henry freaked out? Because when I work with ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, they occasionally just get wonky. Like you'll be working on something and then all of a sudden it's just code or it's sending the wrong thing or it deletes half of it or whatever. If that happened when somebody was sharing their deepest, darkest, you could have a really negative outcome. Or let's say Henry all of a sudden malfunctions and starts talking about suicide or relieving your pain or whatever and goes off. We could see some really dark things start
Yeah.
to emerge,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I totally hear that. But you know what? That's like the stuff that's for humans. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like that's going for us and not getting replaced.
Oh, no, for sure. But I think it's inevitable that they're going to try. And the thing that's so crazy is people don't know that they're actually training AI models to replace them right now. I've had more and more clients telling me now they're forcing integration of AI at work. And that's good, but at what point are we training these models? And so
Mhm.
it's been interesting. Some of my clients, I have one client who will tag in an AI like assistant on our Zoom calls to summarize our sessions for her own like memory. Because you know how fast I talk and whatever.
Yeah.
And we both have ADHD, so it's just wild when we have
Yeah.
a session. And I mean, data the data that this chatbot spits out at the end is super accurate with like steps and further things to further explore and all of that. But I mean, every time we interact with these things, we're making them better. And
Right.
it's going to get really interesting, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And the ethics around it are going to be really important for us as a society to decide, okay, if AI makes work easier, do companies allow people to have more creative roles, work shorter weeks? Like, how are big companies going to respond to this? Or are they just going to eliminate staff? The rich get richer, and the rest of us are left to fend for ourselves. I don't really know. If I had to guess, I would
Right.
guess it'd be that. But
Right.
I don't really know how it's going to look. But this case is such an interesting one from an ethical perspective,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It'll be really, it's kind of scary to think long term of how this is going to look.
Well, and then when we get back to Miss Kendra, a woman came forward kind of towards the end of all of this sharing and said she was one of Kendra's former clients and friends, which, hello, your clients should not be your friends.
No.
I have joked with some of my clients, if I met you in a different context, we'd probably be friends.
Right.
But we're not friends.
No, we're your
It's a
therapist.
type of relationship. It is not a friendship.
Right.
He said that Kendra was charging her $3,000 for 3 months of coaching that mainly involved quote unquote human design readings rather than therapy.
And so Kendra was a therapist?
ADHD coach. And then that gets into
Gosh.
coaching, which is a whole other thing. So
Coaching has its own
uh,
stuff.
there's a place for some level of coaching. However, most people get that balance wrong. Not all. I've known some great ones and some who've been coaches and then gone back to school to become therapists.
Mm-hmm.
They understood the difference. But some coaches just really just cross that line
Right.
without even thinking about it,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, $3,000 for three
I
months
mean,
of
yeah,
ADHD coaching?
that's pretty nuts. Well, and I feel like before life coaching got big, it had like no regulations. And so it was basically like, let me help you with your life. And then it did become friendships that you're paying for.
Yes, I
And
agree.
then they created some regulations around it, which was good,
Very good.
you know.
And I hope that they continue to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, there's a few professions right around the therapy profession that are just not as well regulated. Mediators aren't, there's some fabulous mediators, but they're not necessarily well regulated. PRE evaluators. Like there's just a lot of stuff out there that needs a little bit more direction, I feel like.
Yes, I agree with that. Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to chat about this case. I think it's so interesting. If you're curious, go on TikTok and watch her stories. She is not a reliable narrator in my opinion. However, if she's been mistreated in the past, has trauma, whatever, I can have empathy for something being wrong in this situation, not necessarily with her psychiatrist, more likely with her own personal psychology,
Yeah.
you know?
That she needed more therapy for, not just medications from a psychologist.
Yes. And also, you guys, you have to expect the right thing from the right person. Your
Yes.
psychiatrist is not your therapist is not your psychiatrist.
Right.
So if I know a little bit about pharmacology, not a lot, what that looks like is, hey, I wonder if Wellbutrin would help because I've heard it helps with cravings, this, and that. Go talk to your doctor. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
a doctor. I
Mm-hmm.
don't recommend supplements. I don't get into people's medication regimen. I just tell them if they seem to be doing well or not.
Yeah.
Encourage them to communicate with their doctor.
Yep.
Psychologists are not psychiatrists. They can do therapy, they can do assessments. But really, your best therapists are your therapists who are in the trenches every week working with people. And
Yeah.
their grad school experience is largely around therapy.
Yeah.
PhDs do some therapy, but they also do research and they have a really good brain for research and assessment. Psychiatrists are medical doctors, like they are different things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's good to kind of keep that in mind and
Your expectations.
keep your expectations in line with what they're capable of doing,
Yeah.
and if you start to have feelings for your therapist, uh, number one, I do think it's good to tell your therapist because it might be important therapeutic material.
Mhm.
If you feel really vulnerable and you think your therapist is not having good boundaries, please leave. Like you can run like you're on fire in that scenario. But in this
Yeah.
case, it got projected. And I just want to say, too, as a provider, it really sucks when this kind of stuff comes up because some people do end up getting targeted by people who are unwell. And if that's the case here, this psychiatrist is he has not been named, which I'm really thankful for, but people have speculated and tried to figure out who this person is.
Oh,
But this is a reputation damaging thing potentially if there's any merit to it or if she states a name. And so I suspect that's why she didn't give his name, to be honest. I think she would have
yeah.
sued and it would have
Yeah.
been a whole big mess.
Oh, I think that's good. Yeah. 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 You got to feel bad for everyone in this situation because one, the psychiatrist is like, I wasn't doing anything wrong,
Mhm.
allegedly, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
and for her to feel that way, I know, like, I'm sure people are like poking fun at her and all that stuff, which is sad.
It's hard not to be honest, but
Yeah. But that's like, but like the thing is, like, the empathy for me, for her is that, like, there's probably some, whatever her diagnosis is, right? That may play into this. And I think,
Mhm.
and, whatever her life situation is, if she's lonely or,
Oh yeah.
has had bad relationships or history of not great relationships, then it just stinks because she felt overly cared for, which she was appropriately cared for, is what it sounds like.
It sounds like that, yes.
And then she just in her mind took it to a different place, which speaks to her mental health, which for me, that's the sad part, right?
Well, and then I feel really sad because if she's processing all these feelings with Henry, the AI bot, does she have
Right.
friends? Because if you, let's say,
No, she probably doesn't.
therapist and you come over and go, I think my therapist is in love with me. You're gonna get the hairy eyeball so fast from me. I'm gonna be like, why do you think this?
All my friends are gonna look at me and be like, Nat,
Nat, let's get real.
that's weird.
And you vet it with people who are gonna tell you what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
either she went through her friends and they were all like, babe, or this
Right.
isn't her first time, or she doesn't have friends and resorted to an AI chatbot or 10.
My guess is it's the last one.
That's kind of what I'm guessing too. Allegedly. Grace, say
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Can you say allegedly? Is that going to be your first
Allegedly.
word?
Allegedly. Well, y'all, we're going to be at CrimeCon. There's still tickets available. And
Come
go
see
buy
us if
the
you're
alleged.
there.
Come see us if you're there and buy our hats because they are selling like hotcakes.
Yeah. Grace even was like, huh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They get your hats. Get your hats, people.
Get your ass. We'll see you guys next week, as always.
Bye, forensic friends. I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.